Hi guys, a very warm welcome to DNA.
Thank
Hi.
you.
Hi.
Hi. So I watched the film and I absolutely love it. It's amazing, a very fresh take on relationships, something that I really loved. Uh, I want to begin by asking Deepika. So Deepika, your performance has been commendable and you've actually taken to Alicia like fish to water. So what I want to ask you is, what
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Fish,
Uh,
man.
what was it about, Alicia, that actually got you on board?
I mean, I think I'd be foolish to turn that part down. It's as simple as that. I think as actors and as hungry actors, you're always looking for parts that you can literally sink your teeth into. And this was, this was one of those films where I've had moments in my career before where I've had moments to do it a little bit. Cocktail, for example, or Piku. And these are sort of the films and performances and characters that are coming up now after people have watched this. But I think this one is by far the most nuanced character that I've been given. Um, and I'm not surprised because that's just who Shakun is. That's just the kind of writer he is. That's the kind of director he is. And so much of it is not on paper. So much of it is conversation. So much of it is discovering as we go along, making it better, as we go along. So at a narration level itself, I was extremely fascinated by where he was taking this idea and this story. And when you make a film like this, there is always room and scope to. And so when it's already so exciting on paper, and then you have a director like him, the only thing that can happen is for it to get better. And yeah, I think just a lot of trust also between that I have in him. That I was able to completely surrender and just be honest and be myself. And I think somewhere we've gotten to know each other also as people over the years. I've known him even before he's ever come to me with a film. So I think just all of that really added to this experience, really for me. And I think he was able to direct me in a way, push the right chords, push the right buttons, and a lot of conversation, And there were times where I felt, okay, Shakun, I feel like this may not be right for my character. I feel like I can do this. And the fact that he's open to it, a lot of writer directors are married to their ideas, their dialogues. But that wasn't the case here. I think he's willing to learn, he's willing to listen, and allow his actors to feel extremely, I'd say, comfortable, open. He's open to new thoughts, he's open to new ideas, and willing to try and experiment. And of course, if it doesn't work, we'll go back to plan A. But I think what works with this is the fact that he allows you to sort of bring in your own, which doesn't happen very often.
Right. So, Alicia is a character. Of course, all the characters are going through some kind of, emotional upheaval or, some kind of emotion during the film. But Alicia is someone who's gone through a childhood trauma and, she's dealing with a lot of stress and there's anxiety. She's taking pills. She's got panic attacks. What I want to know is, was there any apprehension in taking up the role? Because we know about a time when you've talked about going through a tough phase in your own life. Was it difficult because it might the character might just make you go back to your real life and relive moments that you don't want to relive? So was there any apprehension in taking up the character?
No, not really. I mean, I think the fact that I've had a lived experience with mental illness uh, is just by the way. And I would have done this film irrespective, honestly. It's not like I've had an experience and therefore I feel the need to have done this role or this film. That's just sort of a by the way experience that I've had in my life. And no, not even triggers really, because I think also over the years what I've been able to do for myself is to be able to separate the professional from the personal. And I'm able to, a large part of it is also because of my battle with mental illness. I need to do that for myself. I need to cut off, leave my work behind. I need to go back home and completely disconnect from work, and just go back to doing everyday, regular, normal things. And that is a part of my my mental health journey. I need, in order to not go back into that space again. So, and therefore by default, I never really had to worry about, okay, I'm portraying this on screen and I'm having to play a certain scene on a day. Am I going to, slip back into that place? That was never something that I've had to worry about. And I think years of work teaches you that. It teaches you that you're doing a job, you're doing what you do, and you cut off and you switch off and you go back home and you live your life. At least that's the way I've conducted my last several years.
Right. So, Siddhant, to you actually, I wanted to ask, Zayn is a character who comes across as selfish. So when this character came to you, how did you approach it?
I was very about it. And I was like, ये तो मैं नहीं छोड़ूंगा. It's so meaty and so grey that I will not let this character go for at any cost. Huh? So what?
I said evergreen.
Right.
But yeah, it's such a meaty role. There's, you leave the choice, to the audience. And that's why I was like, it's Shakun Batra, it's Deepika Padukone, it's Ananya.
So,
G, sir.
Batra sahab.
Captain of our ship.
Listen, they just keep pulling my leg.
No.
Now we mean it. We used to pull
you last time.
Like, I'm going to change your name to Shakun, sir. Shakunji.
Listen, we're just having a moment. But
yeah, but I think I'm glad that at such an early, stage of my career, I get to play something so intense and meaty, and I'm just thankful that this came my way, and I hope the people will hate me or love me or judge me, because that's what I want them to do, to question what's right, what's wrong, and have a conversation by the end of the film.
Yeah, I think he's being modest. I think he's really bold and courageous because he looks at the story first, and he likes to believe in the story, and he's actually, if anything, selfless in that way. He serves the story, and I think there's so many times that you rightly said, all these characters are walking a very thin line, and they're all grey. But for all of us to be together as a team and mostly talk about the story and not our personal ideas of what we are trying to achieve. Yeah. And I think you need a great team. You need people who are bold, who are courageous, and who are all invested in the story. So I think Sid, Deepika, Dhairya, and Ananya, they're all really invested in the story.
Shakun, since we are speaking, so I wanted to ask, all the characters in the film are on first name basis, and they do not have surnames. That's very unique. There's just one person who has this surname suddenly, which is Bijoy Sen. All the other characters don't have surnames. What is this unique idea?
As a writer, I will have to. I will put in. No, listen.
But we know our surnames.
We all know. The thing is, in real life, you don't have to bring up surnames. Like I won't talk to somebody if I've known them with a surname included. But I think internally we all did.
Let's do a surname check. Oberoi.
Khanna.
Singhvi.
Kya?
Singhvi.
So we now know that.
Batra.
Okay.
Batra ji.
Batra ji.
So ज़्यादातर पंजाबी हैं सारे. So मैं कपूर.
अरे क्या बात.
So Ananya, I wanted to ask you, Tia as a character is, she's innocent, she's insecure. But what for you was the most difficult part to shoot in the film?
As a scene specifically, or just in general, what was the most challenging?
Any scene that in particular that you had a tough time, or maybe a challenging scene?
Definitely just an overall sense of maturity I think was necessary for me to bring, which I did find challenging because even while we were shooting, I was 21 and then I turned 22 while shooting the film as well. And I definitely haven't gone through what any of the characters have been through, or even Tia in that sense, especially at that scale and level. So I think it took a lot of conversations with Shakun. It took a lot of reflection on how I couldn't think how Ananya at this age would be in those situations because it would be very different. Even though Tia and I have some similar qualities, I had to fully put myself into Tia's shoes and her context, her surroundings, her relationship with Zain, her relationship with Alisha, Karan, and I kind of had to be as honest with that as possible. But it took a lot of work. It really did to get to that point, and I'm really grateful to Shakun for that because he was really patient with me. He really held my hand through all of that, and I really got lucky with my co-actors because I just really had to be in the moment and react to what they were doing. And honestly, one of the biggest reasons I did this film was because I wanted to learn. You know, I'm so young and I'm just starting out. It's only my 4th film, but I just want to learn, and I knew that this would just be the biggest opportunity to just pick up as much as I can from everyone around me.
Sure. Dhairya, to you, early on, of course, in your career also, you've got a film which is, which has a lot of, you can say, sensitivity to it. It's a complex topic to be, talking about in a film. And you worked with a director like Shakun Batra. There's Deepika, who has 15 years of experience in the industry. So what are your takeaways from the film?
From the film and in general, like you said, I've been part of other films. I've had the fortune of working with some of really talented and well-known actors who are loved by everyone. And my biggest takeaway is that the privilege I had to just be around them, observe and learn. And I just continue to do that. That's been my school of learning. And how Ananya said that, you just have to be in the moment really. And surrounded by great actors, bright minds, your job is easy. And at the same time, you are performing better.
Right. Since I started off with Deepika, I'll end my interview with a last question for Deepika. So Deepika, what as a person does Deepika do when she is emotionally vulnerable?
I embrace it. Yeah, I mean, I think that's been my biggest learning, to live your truth, to live a life as authentic as possible and to live it with honesty. Sure, you're going to make mistakes along the way, and you're going to go through ups and downs and all kinds of things being thrown at you. But I think the biggest service that you can do is to embrace every emotion that you go through or every experience that you go through.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.